Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the Akim that are teaching this word. Shalom Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Now, as you can see here, the article from RT from the USA News, it says, what pandemic? US spent more on nuclear weapons development in 2020 than rest of the world combined, report says. All right, so this is an article which I'm going to read, which is basically going into, Esau, we're meant to be in this time of a pandemic, a global pandemic, but the US military has spent more on nuclear weapons, than the rest of the world combined, man, in the time of a pandemic. All right, weren't they meant to be making hospital beds and ventilators and for all this so-called mass death that's going on? But nah, Esau, what he's really been doing is bulking up his military might, man. All right, which is biblical prophecy, because nuclear weapons is going to be the second death, man. So I'm going to read this here. The United States accounted for over half of the total nuclear weapons spending in 2020. The 37.4 billion that went towards its nuclear arsenal beat the combined expenditure of the 8 other nuclear powers, a new report says. The majority of that whopping sum, roughly 5% of the country's total military spending last year, was dispersed as defense contracts to provide corporations. Nearly a third, around 13.7 billion, was awarded to contractor Northrop Grumman, which is building a new intercontinental nuclear weapons system. According to the report titled Complicit 2020 Global Nuclear Spending, and published on Monday by advocacy group International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons. Nuclear-armed countries collectively spent 72.6 billion on these weapons last year, an uptick of 1.4 billion on the previous year. So they're spending, all these billions of dollars or pounds or whatever it is, currency on bolstering up their nuclear arsenal when we're in a global pandemic. So that should tell you something, man. That should, bells should be going off in your head, man. Why are they making all these weapons, when they're in a global pandemic? Because that's what Esau, the so-called white man's all about, man. He's all about that war. All right, he's all about war, man. He's all about war, death and destruction, all right? That's what this man's about. The US spent more than 3 times the figure dished out by its closest competitor, China, 10.1 billion. Russia was listed in third place at 8 billion, while the UK spent around 6.2 billion, the report said. All right, so, hey, we're meant to be in a global pandemic here in England and in America, the planet, but they're spending all this money on weapons, man. All right, this shows you that we're in this time, man. We're in the time of the end, all right? So we know we got a few more prophecies, that mark of the beast, the invasion of Iran, and then, hey, the end, man, and the destruction of Babylon, man, and the return of Yahushai, man. The ICAB report calculated that nuclear-armed states, which also include France, India, Israel, Pakistan, and North Korea, together spent more than $137,000 per minute on atomic weapons as the pandemic raged in 2020. So in the so-called heat of the pandemic that we've been in, like in the hottest parts of it, they were spending on weapons, man, the most then. So it says there's always more nuclear spending out there, even more still lurking in the shadows. Susie Snyder, managing director of the project Don't Bank on the Bomb and co-author of report, told the Intercept. Snyder told the outlet that governments, especially US, UK, and France, are always demanding transparency, yet they do not hold themselves to the standards they demand of others. Meaning they are always complaining, to the other nations, other Edomite nations, about their nuclear weapons, or they complain to Iran, for example, they're not allowed to have a nuclear arsenal or whatever, but then they themselves, the US, UK, and France, they bolster their nuclear weapons daily, man. Which shows you that the so-called white man is nothing but a hypocrite, man. All right, and that's why their civilization is gonna be nuked, man. That's one of the reasons. This is Psalms 55:21. It says, "The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords." Meaning, Esau, the so-called white man, the words of his mouth, they're smoother than butter, man. So during the time of this period that we're in, all they've been talking about is easing lockdowns, helping people, get you V'd up, get the J, get the, the jabs, the V's and whatever, and you're going to be better. That's all they've been talking about. Yet, really, behind the scenes, they've been bolstering their nuclear weapons, man. They've been bolstering their war, their weapons of war, man. So that's the so-called white man. They come on the TV with their suits and ties and speak smooth to the public, speak smooth things. We're about peace. We want to heal the world or whatever. But inwardly, they want to destroy everything, man. So the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart, man. So in their mind, in their spirit is war, man. All right, in their mind, all right. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords, man. All right. So the words of Esau's mouth are softer than oil, but yet realistically, he wants to draw swords to destroy, man. That's what he's all about, man. And you're gonna find that out, man. Especially you Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, man. You're already finding that out, but you're gonna find it out even more in a time of Jacob's trouble, man. All right, because you seem to still think that even after all that's happened this year, you still think so-called white people are your friends, man. Edomites. So this is Isaiah 54:16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I've created the waster to destroy. Exactly. And the waster to destroy is the nuclear missiles, man. All right, nuclear destruction. That's the waster to destroy. So the Lord said he created the smith. The smith, like we always go into, is an ancient man that would make you weapons. All right, you go and you get swords, shields, arrows, whatever you need. You go to the smith, man. All right, but now that modern smith is them scientists that make the nuclear weapons, man. All these weapons that Esau makes, they have to go to them scientists that, make the bomb concoctions together and put it all together, man. So that's the smith. The smith that bloweth the coals in the fire is the scientist, man. And he said, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I've created the waster to destroy, man. And the instrument for his work is that nuclear missile, and the waster to destroy is exactly what it says, man. The nuclear missiles which are going to be used to destroy, man, to destroy various parts of this world that we're in. All right, primarily Babylon the Great, which is America, which is in the scriptures, is going to be nuked, man. All right, different parts of the world are also, different hotspots of the world are also going to get nuked, man. That's what they're there for. They ain't just making these nuclear. Why in this global pandemic have they been bolstering nuclear weapons, man? They're not. The Lord is making them do this because he's gonna ultimately put it in their spirit to fight against each other and to basically use these weapons that they've created, man. That's the time we're in, man. That Lord willing, we're very close to this time because that's the end of this world, man. Revelation 21:8. Revelation 21:8, it says, but the fearful and unbelieving and abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. All right. And that lake that burns with fire and brimstone is America. All right. And everything that this scriptures just said dwells in the land of America, and not just America, because America, which is Babylon the Great, is the beacon of light that everyone on the planet follows, man. So everyone follows the philosophies and ideas of democracy, man. And that's about being, the fearful, being unbelieving. They don't believe in the scriptures. They talk about the Bible ain't real. That's a doctrine on this planet. The Bible is not a true book. There is no God. That's what the majority of people say that, man. That comes out of their mouth. And it says an abominable, yeah, because you have all kind of abominations over there, man. And on the planet as a whole. But this is primarily talking about America, which is going to be the lake of fire. But everywhere on the planet is abominations, man. Transsexuals, pedophiles, homosexuals, lesbians, all right, murderers and whoremongers, sorcerers, yeah, people that are into witchcraft. Because anything in this world, anyone that talks about spirituality in this world is always based on the left-hand side, man. Witchcraft, man. Child sacrifice, blood drinking, all the abominations that we know of, man. All right. And idolaters, yeah, people that believe in idols, man. Creations of man. There's a lot of that on this planet, man. But they don't worship the true power, which is Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. And it says, and all liars, which that's another thing in this world. Everyone's, is a liar, man. In this society, man. It's just a normal thing to lie to people, man. And that's what it is. All right. That's just what it is. But hey, when you come in the truth, man, the Lord teaches you not to be like this world. So there's standards that we uphold, man. So it says, shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death, all right? And that's the second death. They're all going to have their part, man. Basically, anyone outside of this truth, man, who isn't a believer in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai of the hopeful elect, which going to be delivered from America, they're going to be destroyed, man. Everyone, all the elect are going to be delivered out of America, man. And the 1/3 and their children and wives, they'll be delivered out of America, man. But the rest of those, which is Babylon, but everyone else is going to be destroyed, man. And the same goes with different parts of the earth also. When we get the deliverance, the wicked on the earth, when them bombs hit, and nuclear missiles hit, they're going to be destroyed, man. That's that second death. We always go into it. The first death was with the water, but the second death is going to be, with the fire, man. All right? So, with that, I'm just going to say all praises unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the Akim that are teaching this word. Shalom Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Shalom.